that they were. Unbelievable. So Watkins Glen Gorge Trail is now our favorite gorge trail that we've ever hiked. When we hiked it, we counted 1,600 stairs going up and down, and over 4 miles of hiking. What was interesting was you could access the gorge trail for free, right from the town of Watkins Glen. You go walk past the visitor center and you could do all the hikes for free. We didn't know that. So our previous favorite gorge trail was Robert Treman State Park. So we decided, we should go back and check out Robert Treman again. So when you stay in Watkins Glen State Park, you get, every day that you're there, you get free entrance to any state park. So they give you a tag they hang in your windshield. So we knew that, with one of those days, we'll head over to Robert Tremaine. But until then, we went over to Ithaca. Now, we went to Ithaca last year, and it was 90 plus degrees. And with COVID, everything was closed or, weird. And half of the gorge trail that runs through Ithaca was closed. So, a year ago, we did one half of the gorge trail, and it was so hot up there, everything was closed. We just cut that trip short and came back home. So this year, we wanted to go back and do the whole gorge. Now, the gorge trail was half closed, but it was the opposite half that was closed this time. So it took us 2 years, and we got to do the gorge trail. It's cute. It's it's pretty. It's in the middle of the city, and that was that. So that gorge trail is called Cascadilla Gorge Trail. So I think that's like Little Cascade, maybe, in Spanish. I'm not really sure. I'm guessing. So after we left there, we went over to Buttermilk Falls, which we again had visited last year. But it was so hot, we did the hike, but we didn't really get to enjoy it much. And last year with COVID, they had, it's like you can go up through the woods and then come down through the gorge. And we like going up through the gorges. This way you're looking at the waterfall ahead of you the whole time you're going up. So last year we had to do it the opposite way that we wanted to. So we did it again this year, and it was really nice. We liked it. We liked it better than last year. And that one had like 400 stairs going up. So after that, we knew that we liked, before I leave this waterfall, we knew that we liked Buttermilk Falls better than Cascadilla in Ithaca. We also knew that we did not like Buttermilk Falls as much as Watkins Glen. But after that, you're in wine country, so we went over to Castle Grish Winery, and we enjoyed a nice glass of wine there. We tried to sit outside with the view, but it was just too hot, even in the shade. So we sat inside in the air conditioning, had a glass of wine, We bought a couple bottles to go. Now, we had stayed at this winery a couple years ago with our RV. We stayed in their parking lot with Harvest Host. We do like Harvest Host, and if you go into the Finger Lakes, it's a great way to explore the wineries. There's a link to my website at the bottom of these show notes, and in there's a page with discounts. So I have links to Harvest Host and also Boondockers Welcome. So check them out. You can save, I forget, I think it's like 5% or 10% of the cost if you follow my links. So check it out. Now, we had stayed there 2 years ago. This year we were in the park, so we headed back to the park and made dinner and all of that. So the next day we said, well, let's go back to Robert Treman. We had the free pass. It was 3 years ago, and Robert Treman was our first gorge hike, so we were blown away by it. And we've been raving about Robert Treman, or Treman State Park to everybody that, talks about the Adirondacks. So we said, let's go back and revisit it. And we were not overly impressed. We really liked it. It was really pretty. But Watkins Glen kind of blew it away. The one thing that Robert Treman State Park has normally is you could swim in it. Now, last time we were there, 3 years ago, the water was low and there was a cascading waterfall and there had to be 100 people sitting in the water, and we had a little picnic there and kids swimming, and it was really nice in the middle of the waterfall. This time, with all the water raging, they wouldn't allow you to enter the water, and you wouldn't want to. You would have been swept away. It was unbelievable. I'm going to try to find a picture from 3 years ago where we're sitting on this waterfall, and a picture from this trip in the same spot. And if I find them, I'll put them on my Instagram page, Relax RV Podcast. I'll post them in there. So now we knew Watkins Glen topped Robert Treman. Now, this year, if we were able to swim, would it have been better? I don't know. None of these parks are not worth seeing. All of them are gorgeous, as they say. So, the next day, we packed up and we drove about 20 miles or so. And we found a campground there called Sned Acres. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It was a Thursday morning, and we were looking for a place for Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. And we checked all over the place. We couldn't find campgrounds that had availability. We were reaching out to wineries and to stay with the Harvest Host, and when we never do this, we never leave it up in the air to the last day. This is the first time we did this, and we didn't know where we were going to be staying, so we're scrambling looking for places. And we couldn't find wineries. Either they weren't open or they already had RVs reserved there. Then I found Sned Acres. So I sent you couldn't look at their availability online, so I sent her an email asking if they perchance had anything available for that evening, Friday evening and Saturday evening. And about a half hour later, we were walking through Watkins Glen campground, and I said, let me check my email, and I did, and a woman from Sned Acres said, we just had a cancellation we have those 3 nights available, but if you want them, you better call me quick because they're going to go fast. It's our only site available. So grabbed the phone, called her. She set the campsite aside for us, and we were thrilled. We decided we don't like doing that. We don't like waiting till the last day and trying to find some place. And I know a lot of people do it, and a lot of people like to do it that way. This way your options are open. But we like to have about a week's stay planned in advance. So from there, we drove over to Sned Acres. We checked in. What a nice little park. Really clean pool. Nice folks. We figured we'd be in the campground until Sunday, so that'll give us some time to find a harvest host. Being it was Thursday. So, looking for my spot in my notes, because I tend to wander, and I get lost, but now I'm found. So, we were driving past this national forest called the Finger Lakes National Forest when we were going out to Ithaca. And I never knew there was a national forest up there. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast, you'll know that we ordered a new snowmobile back in the winter. I guess about 6 months ago, February of 21, and it should be hopefully be delivered around October of this year. Now again, with everything on back order, who knows? But we said, well, we knew that there was snowmobile trails up in that area, so we said, let's go do a hike. So we went over to Finger Lakes National Forest. We found a hike, and it was really, really nice. And they do, in fact, have some snowmobile trails through there. So, again, we decided to, head over to a winery. And we noticed that COVID hit the Finger Lakes really hard last year. And they still haven't bounced back. They have limited seating. They still take reservations for tastings. They have changed their policy for tastings where you select a group of wines and they give you those samples. You can't just have a sample of anything. We found our friend Scott does not like that. He doesn't like, to be told what kind of wine you're going to get in your tasting. And I don't blame him. You're paying $12 or $14 for their tasting of wine.